Hey everyone, welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. 99% of traders will never make consistent profits. So why listen to the 99% of advice? On this show, we're going to challenge some of the most hallowed and repeated tenets of trading. And in doing so, set you up to succeed where others fail. Spoiler alert, we don't have a secret strategy or magic wand that will let you skip out on the hard work of learning the markets. But we can debunk viewpoints that are holding you back. If that sounds good to you, come join us. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Jordan, how you doing?
Doing well. It's nighttime here, of course, 12-hour difference. So my trading day is done for the day, but excited to now continue the conversation here today. And I think we're going to be discussing indicators, right?
Yeah. We indicators is one of those things that we kind of have a somewhat unique look on, and we see they kind of get they get a really confusing and straight up wrong take from most people,
And have a bit of a
yeah,
cult-like following, wouldn't you say?
a little bit, and it is I'm going to try to make the case. I think indicators and trust in indicators and stuff like that are one of the things that make people plateau at break even, and a lot of people never get past that point. So yeah, it's night for you, it's morning for me, man. I'm sitting here with my coffee. Life is good. Sunny.
Yeah. Oh man, I could. It's
Fantastic.
like just had a good Fourth. I hope everyone had a good Fourth of July.
Yeah, we're recording
I
this
mean, when it comes
yeah.
to these indicators, it's really funny because I do think the biggest channels in the business are really, some of them anyway, are really pushing indicators. Now, without mentioning names, there's one in particular that I think that they push indicators so hard. And the one thing I find hilarious is their guru. They have over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, and their guru pushes a new indicator every single week. So my question to you is, if these indicators are effective, why do we have a new one every week?
Yeah, it's this is one thing that that immediately makes me lose respect for people, because the grift is so obvious that it's just insane, right? Like, selling an indicator, you're essentially, what indicators end up being is a crazy effective business tool that you can just sell to people who are not effective, right? Like, the only people who buy indicators are people who don't make money yet on the
Yeah.
markets. So
So,
you're
or should we
selling.
say losers? Now, not losers in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sense,
yeah,
but
yeah.
losers who had losing at trading.
Yeah. Losers, right? Every
Yeah.
every every trader who's successful has been a loser at some point and
Yep.
losing money.
Yeah.
And so you're taking advantage of those people. It's it's like someone who takes money from people, running seances for people who just lost their loved one. It's like you're taking advantage of somebody who's at their, who's very vulnerable, right? So
Yeah.
somebody who's not making money, and you're going, well, hey, I have this magic indicator, and all you have to do is follow this indicator, and you'll make money just like I do. Just pay me. And it's such a thinly veiled um, business that just takes advantage of people, and we'll make the argument. We make the argument that they don't work. Um,
Yeah. And that doesn't mean, don't get, I don't want people to get us wrong, right? Like, that doesn't mean that indicators aren't a tool that can be used. It can be a part of your arsenal, right? But they should never be the main part of your strategy. They should never be the main part of how you trade, because they can be a
no.
tool, right? Like, I mean, essentially all any indicator does, I don't care what anyone tells you, all the indicator does is just show you past price action in different visualized ways.
That's all it does. Yeah. It visualizes what's already happened in the market. But the candlesticks show the same thing. It's just, it makes indicators maybe make it a little bit easier to see, okay, the
Momentum.
where the averages have gone, yeah,
Yeah,
where the momentum's going, but all that is you can just look at a chart. It's not giving you new information.
that is correct. There's no
And
new
and
information from an indicator.
yeah, and like what you said, they're a tool. The problem is they're not taught like that. So people who sell indicators will go, "Hey, all you have to do is wait for the indicator to go off and then buy or sell." And that's all you have to do. And they take your brain out the of trading. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it a lot of people never get past that point because my my biggest problem with trading strategies like that, which is, hey, just wait for the indicator to go off and then buy or sell, is it it randomizes essentially your trading. So in if the way the market works, when you first begin, you are not random. So if you told a computer if you just programmed a computer to quickly just buy or sell at random points, right? It would break even. It wouldn't make any money, but it wouldn't lose any money.
Yep, in the long run.
And
It's like flipping a
yeah, in the
penny,
long run.
right? The market's either
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
go up or it's going to go down at any time. You flip a
exactly.
penny, you flip enough pennies, it's essentially going to be 50 and 50.
Yeah, long run, you don't lose any money. Um, and so people will lose money when they first start because you're actually the way your brain for some reason works is it works in the exact opposite way the market makes money. And so people will start using an indicator eventually because they've lost a lot of money, and then they'll break even. They'll go, "Hey, I've made progress," and they have made progress. What they've just done is they've made it impossible for them to make money because they've just randomized their their buying and selling strategy. And what
Yeah.
they've done is also they could easily be replaced. Like my one of my main problems with indicators is you could be replaced if all you do is just buy or sell when the indicator goes off.
Yeah.
Replace it, like, why are you sitting in front of your computer? Replace it with a script you could write in 10 seconds, or if you can't write scripts, pay somebody on 5 or 10
Oh,
bucks
what do you mean? You
to
just
write
get
the
Chat
script.
GPT to make it for you.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. You can write an algorithm to do that. Why are
Yeah.
you sitting in front of a computer? If that was as easy as it was to make money, literally anybody who could just write a program or pay somebody to write a program or type into Chat GPT how to write a program could just sit and make money and never have to sit in front of the computer. Right.
Yeah.
So obviously it doesn't work. Right. If you think
No,
about it that way,
yeah.
obviously this doesn't work.
Yeah, it clearly doesn't work. And I think that's something that I mean, we've been in the same boat that, and I think that's the thing that you go on YouTube and no one is telling you that. Everyone, you go
No.
through YouTube shorts, you go through YouTube and you'll see hundreds and hundreds of videos of showing, oh, this strategy or this strategy or this return, brought me 100% return or whatever. And I think that also is something that needs to be discussed because let's be honest, if you and I wanted, like, if I want to sell you an indicator, I can go into, whatever platform I want. I can back test a indicator for 6 months. I can tweak it. I can do various things. And at some point I can get a indicator that you back test at 6 months and I'm super profitable, right? But the fact
Mm-hmm.
is, it's an indicator that I've simply created based off of past data to give me
Yeah.
good results in the past. And
You've
and
reverse engineered.
I've reverse engineered something exactly, and that's all anyone is doing in the indicator business is they are reverse engineering something that says, "Hey, look how well this worked." Like no one's showing you these doing this in live time. It's always
Right.
in the past. It's always a pre-recorded video. It's always showing you. Let's go back in Trading View and look back at last month, and now check. Now we're going to back test our indicator. Well, we're back testing it because we've already tailored it for the market conditions, and the
Yeah.
market conditions are constantly changing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. One that a lot of people are confused about because they'll be like, well, yeah, but they're selling this indicator and it has 6 months of back testing data and it was 10%, it got a 10% gain, monthly gain over that time. And how is that possible if they're just like, yeah, obviously it works. Like you said, you can reverse engineer any of these indicators to work for 6 months. and you go back 6 months, you reverse engineer it, you just tweak these numbers slightly until all your wins stack up and your losses minimize,
Yeah.
and boom, you have an indicator. It worked over 6 months. Going forward does not mean it will work at all. In fact, you could make an indicator based off of literally anything. I could make an indicator based off of astrology and just have a few, a few constants that I tweak slightly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever I buy, whenever Mars is in retrograde,
You
and
could make
sell
it
whenever
work for any,
Mars
you
is
pick a
retrograde.
right period of time and you can make it look good.
100%. 100%. You could make an indicator based off of astrology that for the last 6 months got a 10% return monthly.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand about the indicator business. Most of it is just a grift. And
Yeah.
it's sad seeing people getting taken by it. Like you said, you know, can they be used as a tool
Yeah.
to
And I
just
mean,
show you what the market's doing maybe
yeah,
more
I mean
clearly?
that's kind of what I want to say is like it sounds like we're bashing on indicators and we're not. Like what we're bashing on is people preaching them as the holy grail of trading or selling them to people as they're somehow some miraculous thing that you can make money on. Because let's
Yeah.
be honest, you can't. But what they are is they are a good tool. But that being said, and I think what we also have to remember though is that they are a tool and you have to learn how to use your tools. So that means if you are going to integrate an indicator or a couple indicators into your trading portfolio or your trading strategy, whatever you want to call it, then pick one or two and learn it. It just goes back to what we were talking about on our previous podcast. You don't pick up a driver and then you pick up your iron and then you pick up your sand wedge and you just randomly just practice all of them together. You just pick them up and practice row. Like you have to pick which ones are you going to practice with first and what are you going to get good at, right? And so like indicators, like I use an RSI when I'm trading, but that's it. And I've used that same indicator. And right, let's be honest. What does RSI? It just shows me how fast the market's been going in one direction. Honestly, it shows momentum. I can look at the chart and I go, oh, there's a bunch of green candlesticks. It doesn't take a genius to go, yeah, momentum's going up, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely just need to make sure that you're picking what you use and you're then learning how to use that tool and not jumping around to the next amazing indicator that you see on YouTube or by your favorite trading guru.
And learning how to great points. The point I would add is the thing I most care about when people are talking indicators is learn to use your indicator and learn when to ignore your indicator.
Yeah.
Because if all you're doing is buying and selling when the indicator tells you to, right? When like your alarm goes off and your RSI crosses and whatever, right? Whenever your thing happens, if all you're doing is just buying or selling when your indicator goes off, you've plateaued any future progress because you've
Right.
just turned your brain. You've just become the little fleshy bit that ends this, that an algorithm could do, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, so if and when you use an indicator, recognize, don't just become part of an algorithm that could easily do this, a computer could do, because that won't work, and you will plateau any future progress because you've just stopped learning. What you should do is, yeah, if you use an indicator, make sure you're using it and still learning to be careful about, because if you watch successful traders who happen to use indicators, they'll go, oh yeah, my indicator went off here, but it's not looking quite right, and so they'll be very careful about when they use it or
Yeah,
not.
and any trader that I've actually seen worth their salt doesn't even have an indicator pulled up 90% of the time they're trading. They may have it on a different screen or they may just pull it up occasionally when they want a reference to it, but it's not their main, price action is always going to be the holy grail of day trading for
Yeah.
people, for, mortals like us when we're not going up, if we're not a Wall Street algorithm or something like that moving the market, then it's always going to be price action. It's always going to be our primary tool to enter into the markets, and just using our good old brain and that kind of that implicit learning from just hours and hours and years of looking at the market and seeing how it moves.
Yeah. I mean, look, your brain is your greatest tool.
And your
And
biggest
just,
downfall, which we will
yeah,
we'll
and your
definitely have to have
downfall.
another one on psychology. We'll do another episode on psychology for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I mean, just kind of to wrap that part up with the indicators. Look, if it was as easy as just buying an indicator and buying and selling whenever the indicator told you to, everyone would be millionaires, right? It wouldn't be 99% of people fail. It would be only 1% of people fail. Obviously, that's not the secret. There's no secret sauce. And I think a lot of people, and I don't blame beginners, because everyone goes through that phase where they think if they're failing, they just need to find a better tool.
Yeah.
I don't blame those people, but it's trying to get past the hard work of learning price action, because it's just a matter of time. It takes hours, right? It takes actual sweat to get that. There's no shortcut around that. And
Yeah.
indicators are sold as a shortcut to
Yeah.
get around.
Yep. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut to success. There's no shortcut to getting in shape. And there's no shortcut to becoming a good trader. It's all about putting in the time and the blood, the sweat, the tears, and honestly, the money in
Yeah.
order to make that happen. So
Yeah, but save your money on the indicators and instead put your money into you know, um, maybe try, doing these prop firms or something like that. Save your money on the indicators, because it's just a cesspool.
agreed.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Jordan. I think that's all I had on those. I know we've been talking about that for a while. This has kind of been sitting on our chest for a while.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's one of my big pet peeves. As I said, when I see some of these gurus using them, it's like, oh my word, give me it. And I'll be the first to admit, I've paid for indicators before, and it's
Oh, yeah.
like, and I've learned.
Same, yeah. Well, one problem with like being a day trader is that your feeds get completely full of day trading stuff. So every time I open up Instagram, all I see is idiots selling indicators to to people who don't know any better, and it just drives me absolutely crazy. So hopefully we can convince someone to save their money and instead just put their time in sitting in front of the chart watching some price action.